Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Goldenboy, and I'm a butthole-dwelling parasite. Done. That's it.
Hello, welcome to My Life in Pixels. I'm absolutely chuffed, thrilled to bits, and hyped to announce that our guest this week is Alex Goldenboy Mendez. He's been on the scene since 2011, starting out casting Call of Duty, which he talks about on this episode, and now he's absolutely everywhere, from Rocket League and Overwatch League to Halo to even NBC. He's going to be on primetime American television, starring alongside Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the Titan games. And of course, we talk about all of that on this episode of the podcast. I literally just slid into Goldenboy's DMs yesterday and just said, hey, you know how you said at BlizzCon when we did Overwatch World Cup that you might be up for doing this podcast? Well, do you think we could do it over Discord? And he said, yeah, I could do it today. So I just recorded this yesterday, could not believe my luck. So I raced upstairs to my computer, plugged in my Ethernet cables, screens flying all over the place because I'm more chaotic than my hair, if you can imagine. Because anything for Goldenboy, if you are new to eSports, just look this guy up. His credits are incredible, and he's really leading the way for people like me. And I remember back when I think I was doing a PUBG event and I was trying to explain to people that my role as a host is not to do the analysis. He was very, very sweet to send me a tweet that said, yes, you'll do a good job because you know what your role is. My thing when I'm hosting a desk is I don't want to overstep. You know, I do want to sometimes put my opinions forward. I make jokey opinions when I do PUBG about some of the players that everyone knows that I love. But I'm not analysing the game, so I'm not going to be talking about circle rotations and things like that in PUBG, for example. I'm going to be asking my analysts because they're the ones that people want to hear from, and I'm the one that has the link to production. And I was really chuffed that Alex would even reach out to me because I didn't think he knew who I was. So getting to work alongside him at the Overwatch World Cup at BlizzCon, where he was desk hosting and I was doing this kind of insider reporting role on a couple of the teams, Finland and the UK, was epic. And I learnt so much just from watching him. His feedback is so valuable, and that support as well. So thank you so much, Alex, for doing this, and thank you for just being a bloomin' legend. I really hope you'll enjoy this episode. We talk about Alex going full time, and that is another story I really related to because I had the similar support from my partner when I decided to go hosting full time, and Alex talks about his wife Cynthia, who's been married to for a decade, how she supported him when he decided to give this thing a go, and clearly neither of them can regret it. He's at the top of his game no matter what he says to me when I say that to him. Thanks to you guys for listening, and I will see you guys on the other side. I'm so happy that you chose to jump on this afternoon and chat to me all the way from New York. So welcome to the podcast. Not just a desk host, a caster, a stage host, also a global emote. And to get us into this chat, I just want to ask how that happened. How did you become whatface?
So one, thank you for having me. You're going to hear all the sounds of New York in the background, such as sirens and heaters and trains. So you're really going to get the authentic New York experience. But how I became whatface. So many years ago, I was I was like, just a fledgling caster trying to find my place into space. Kind of got removed from Call of Duty because I took a job at the IGN Pro League, and Call of Duty was like always a big passion of mine. So I was at the IGN Pro League, and one of the MLG events was rapidly approaching, and I ended up getting an offer from GameSpot to go and cover the event. So I was, super happy. I couldn't be there as a caster, but I could be there like just covering, doing interviews and stuff like that. And that was easy because I knew all the COD players very well. All the fans, everyone else knew me, so it was simple. So I was watching one of the games on the main stage, and we had a little bit of a delay. And the producer in the back, Corey Dunn, decided to get crowd shots. And he saw me in the crowd, so he just zoomed in on me. And I did this face. There was essentially this face that like me and my wife like always do, just as a funny gag. And it was the what face, right? We did this face where we just look like we're in like anguish, we're in pain, or we're disgusted with something. And the crowd laughed, and everyone had a good time with it. And then people started like memeing it on Twitter and stuff, which was pretty funny, you know, like when the booty goes or something like that, and then there'll be my face, and then clap or something childish and ridiculous like that. Then one day, a guy who was a caster named Duffman actually like cropped it out and made it into a little emote. He tried to put it on his stream, but what ended up happening was he got denied, because at that time I was joining Twitch. I was like joining the company, and also that everyone at Twitch knew who I was because they were all Call of Duty people as well. So they saw it and they were like, wait a minute, that's Goldenboy's face. So they denied him the ability to use the emote. So he had this like emote there, and he wasn't doing anything with it. So when I joined Twitch and they were like, hey, you know, you're part of Twitch, you can have a global emote, I decided to take that face. And I asked Duffman, and Duffman was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So he sent me the original files, which I still have. He sent them to me, and then you know, I uploaded them onto Twitch, but I needed to find a name, right? So I was looking around all over the place, like for what the actual emote should be, and people were like, oh, it should just be your name, it's good for your brand, it's Goldenboy, or oh, put GBFTW or something like that. And I was like, no, like I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about the face. I want the face to represent something like PogChamp or like Kappa, right? I want this to be the international face of disgust. Like that's what I wanted this to be. So I saw that meme of the older lady who she has like her mouth open and she's like, what? Like that? Like, and I thought, okay, what face? Because at the time, gray face, no space was like a popular like meme for typing out Kappa, because everyone's like, how do you type this? How do you type this, the gray face guy? And everyone said, oh, it's gray face, no space. So I decided to make it what face and put it out there into the wild. And then it instantly saw traction. Like people immediately were into it. They were just like, this is really funny. A lot of like Mortal Kombat tournaments, whenever they would do the fatalities, the what face will be spammed. Whenever there was like a technical issue, instead of T-Tors, it was what face for a little while. And what face like just started to build more and more popularity, and now it is what it is. It's
whenever I appear on screen, what face?
Whenever I appear on screen, like the second I appear on screen, every single time it's what face, and it's funny because it's like, oh hey, people recognize you, and I remember I was at the first TwitchCon. And I had just casted the H1Z1 Invitational. I mean, this thing was huge. It had like 250,000 viewers or 150,000, I don't remember. Some gross amount of viewers for this.
Gazillion viewers.
Yeah, for a gazillion viewers for this Invitational with all these streamers and stuff. And I had just casted it. I like everyone in the arena or in the building saw me, like, you know, it like I was there. And I'm going up the escalator, and then these kids are like, yo man, do the what face? And then I was like, I'm more than this. I am an entertainer of millions. Why is no one recognizing me for this? But you know what? You got to leave an impression somehow. So that worked out.
I think you do that in more ways than one. But I'm curious because you mentioned the COD scene earlier. Obviously, you were very familiar with that when you were starting out. And is that because you wanted to become a pro COD player back in the day? Yeah, actually, I did. I was pretty good. Like I was like top 16 in some cases, top 16 team. Like I never had a chance to go to an event because I didn't have the money. And it was me and my wife, right? So I had a full-time job, and I was kind of juggling like a bunch of different things, which was like, you know, my work, which was very, very loaded, my marriage, which was brand new, and my attempt at being a pro Call of Duty player. I wanted to do that because I'm a very competitive individual. So that's why I wanted to chase that. I used to like play sports back in high school. I tried out for amateur or semi-pro football team, American football here in the States. And, you know, I
Like it was my goal. I just wanted to be the best, right? And just climb to the top of the mountain. But it didn't really work all that well for me. You know, my knees weren't that great for pro sports. And that's kind of when I discovered my passion for like competitive gaming, and Halo was like actually the first one. I would do like clan matches and stuff, and it was so fun. And then I made that transition over to Call of Duty. Then I started playing Call of Duty. I started Call of Duty 2, played a little Halo 3, Shadowrun, then Call of Duty 4, and then I started to get really serious in Black Ops 1. And I wasn't half bad. You know, I networked very well. I knew a lot of players. I was a part of Team Fear for a little while, like captaining their second team because they wanted to expand. We were a solid squad. And then one day, one of my teammates, Embos, who actually is with Optic Gaming, funny enough, as a content creator now, he didn't show up for the tournament. In my first MLG tournament that I was going to go, or I think it was my second. Yeah, it was my second MLG tournament that I went to go compete in Raleigh, North Carolina. And there was a hurricane going on that weekend around that area. And we all got in just fine, but he didn't show up. And we were like, oh my God, what happened? And this was like at the dawn of Twitter, by the way. And I look on Twitter, and it was a tweet from his sister on his account saying that he broke his legs on the way to the airport, and that he couldn't make it to the event. He didn't break his legs. Just so everyone who's listening to the story knows, his mother and father didn't want him to go to the competition. I multiple times I was like, hey, you know, I'll talk to him. I was an adult. Like I have a full-time job, like married, all this stuff. But I guess that was weirder in itself, right? I tried to like establish a relationship, oftentimes with the parents and stuff, so that this way they knew that like, you know, their kid was going to be safe. But it didn't really work out that way. He didn't show up. And then after that event, which we were projected like top 8, like we actually could have gotten top 8. We were that good of a team that, you know, top 8, top 16, top 8, I think was like very realistic. We just didn't really, we crumbled. We had to get a fourth last minute. Everything fell apart. And then from there, I was just like, you know what, I'm done. And I quit. And then conveniently enough, the next event, Raleigh, the national championships, I got a call from my friend Nexi. He said, hey man, we're short a caster. You interested? And then that was it.
I'm interested in how they knew that you would be so great at casting. Were you already making videos online? How did they know? Was it just because your sheer force of personality really suits that role?
I don't know, honestly. Hard to say, because I did do so back in the day, right? It was a lot easier to get up on the desk or on the booth and commentate a game, right? Like if you knew someone, you can go to them and be like, yo, let me cast. And then they'll be like, yeah, sure, why not? You know, like that's how it was back then. Now, if people try and do that now, and it's like, oh no, production's got to approve it. The developers got to be okay. Like it's just not happening unless like you are a known personality or a pro player, like a top pro player, not just any pro player, but a top pro player with a personality that they want. It's very hard for that to happen. But I had managed to convince my friend Nexi in Columbus. After my team had gotten eliminated, I went with a pickup team at this event. But I was like, hey, you know, I want to go and I just want to meet people and I just want to network and hopefully make it onto like better squads and stuff. And that's exactly what happened coming out of that. But I also made an impression, I think, because I did commentate one game in Columbus, like in the morning. It was like a loser's bracket game. And I did a pretty decent job. I don't remember who I commentated with, though. I think I commentated with Holiday Doc or something like that. And I think it was just like the personality, right? Like I understood the game really well because I was a player. So that was a plus. But I also think it was just, you know, cheerful and joyful and just happy to be there and having a good time doing it. So I think that was what had attracted them to it. And you know, who knows? I mean, I really don't know for sure, Frankie. Like, I have no idea why I'm even here. But, you know, I'm gonna keep working.
Everyone knows why you're here, Alex, because you're fantastic at everything. You've obviously got quite a console-focused background. But now you are the go-to for everything. So you of course, you've been involved in Counter-Strike, in Rocket League, Overwatch League 2. I just want to discover how you became that go-to for everything.
It started because of Call of Duty, which is pretty funny because for the longest time, my goal when I became a caster in Call of Duty was to be that guy, the guy who did the finals or who did the big matches, who had those opportunities. But that never came. There were other people who were there that, and it was a networking game, right? But, also there were a lot of talented people as well, guys like Puckett and Fwiz and Hastro and stuff that, friends of mine, and I respect 100%. But it was very clear that I was never going to get that opportunity. And after a little while, I also am a person who has many interests in many different games. So after a little while, I kind of just started to get a little bored going in, doing Call of Duty. And honestly, not really getting opportunities to cast like the big games or cast like good games. Like I always was stuck casting just really bad, like amateur level or losers bracket, B stream stuff. And I was just tired of that. Right. And I had met like quite a few people along the way. And the first thing I did was I did this thing with Twitch where my friend Ernie, who really was, I would say, the one who pushed me to go further. I did this thing with Ernest Lee. He had this game called, oh my God, War of the Roses was the name of this game. It was like, at the time, I don't know if you remember, there were these medieval games that were getting really popular. And War of the Roses was one of these games. They had sponsored this event where all these streamers and YouTubers were going to come out and play, and then there was going to be commentary. It was a disaster, like the event itself. Like they didn't have a spectator mode. They didn't have clean feeds from the computers. Like what they had us do was jump into a character in the game, wear a ridiculous hat, and have us run around and follow the action. Oh my goodness. It was so, and our character got killed so many times. It was so funny, but I had so much fun doing that. And that day was also crazy because that was the first time like anyone had ever like flown me out and put me in a hotel. Like Twitch flew me out any flight I wanted. They put me in a hotel that was massive. It was one night and it was a suite. It was insane what they gave me. And from doing that, I was like, oh man, like there's a whole other world out here besides just Call of Duty of doing all these other events and games. And I did a good job with that. So much so that Twitch then suggested that I go and do a Battlefield broadcast at E3, which I had gone to E3 previously with MLG, but I was only there for like an afternoon. But this time I was at E3, like I was there the entire day. Like I didn't just go for a Sunday. I was there, so not for the entire day. I was there for the MLG E3. I was there for just half a day. For Battlefield, I was there for the entire experience of E3. So to be able to do that was like super sick. And I didn't really know, I played Battlefield, but I didn't know it like that well. So to go in and learn about Battlefield 4, speak with the devs, commentate some games, work with my friend Corey, who is also the first guy I ever commentated with, like this was just super cool. And then from there, I just realized like maybe there is a market for this. And then I got the second job with EA where I went to Gamescom. That was the first time I was able to take my wife to Europe, and from Europe we went to Rome and we saw that, and it was beautiful and it was incredible. And I just thought, man, like, doing anything other than Call of Duty brought me here. Like, I wonder what else I could do. And then that's when I started to kind of like flex around, and I got into Halo. And because I came from Call of Duty and I got into Halo, like the Halo guys really liked me. So they had me do the Halo Global Championship. And it started to snowball little by little. And then before I knew it, like I was getting more and more offers to do other events and other games. I was working conventions, which is honestly like one of the best ways to get, some real experience is to work cons, so that this way you can work with different production teams in different games and network with people. And I just started networking, and I started meeting more and more folks, people now to this day that I still keep in contact with and I still work with on a regular basis. And I guess I never really complain. I show up. I just do the job. I try my best to be as like cheerful and as positive as possible, and do my homework and make sure I'm informed. And then from there, just keep going.
And you did work at Twitch for a time, is that right?
Yeah, I worked there for 2 years ish, right before the Amazon purchasing. And that kind of transitioned into the Halo stuff, because I was one of the first people, like I was involved in the creation of the Halo Championship Series, alongside ESL and 343. So one of the, I guess, benefits of Twitch being involved was that they literally just supplied me as talent, and 343 supplied Bravo as talent. So they didn't have to pay talent anything. So we were flying out, me and Bravo, to all these events, casting them, basically just us two. It was like stressful, because it wasn't really a part of my job description, but it was a part of maintaining the relationship, and I wanted to do it too. So that kept me kind of sharp as far as casting. And I would take like side projects here and there. And then toward the end of my run at Twitch, I started to just do more hosting work, because I knew that the end was near for me. And through my contacts at Twitch allowed me to do it. And Twitch was awesome, by the way, because Twitch, like, if I got offered a gig, they were like, yeah, sure, go ahead, take it. Like, do whatever you want, just take it. And it was like, oh, and I can get paid? They were like, yeah, sure. Besides the Halo one, which was different because Twitch was directly involved in it, they were always down with me, like, just taking work and taking side work and casting or hosting or whatever. So I was able to really develop a profile that way, as well. Being a part of Twitch, being a host, kind of like helped me, weave in and out between different games, different communities, and different opportunities.
I definitely found that Twitch was super supportive when I went off and did things. But I wasn't doing that many events and things like that. But having Marcus at DJ Wheat as my manager meant he was really understanding, because he obviously hosted, and Anna Prosser in the same team as me was hosting too. So they were always happy to kind of make space for me to do those things. I'm wondering what the point was, because you mentioned earlier about War of the Roses and that being almost the reverse whatface moment, right? What for you was a moment where it sunk in that you're at the top of your game and this is your life now?
So I never really believe that I'm at the top of my game. I know this is going to sound annoying because you just said that, but I don't really feel like I'm there. I don't feel like I'll ever really be there. I don't think anyone is ever going to be like perfect, right? And at the king of the mountain, because there's so many amazing talents out there. So it's very hard to say. Like, for me, I think like every day, and it's not the best feeling in the world, to be honest with you, but I feel like every day, like, the phone's going to stop ringing, the emails are going to stop coming in, and then that's that. Then I just go back to my social work job, and that's it. I'm just riding the wave until everyone recognizes that I have no talent. So that's really what I'm doing. But jokes aside, I realized that there was two moments where I realized that this was a thing that I could do. The first was after I had left Twitch. My wife was so supportive, and I told her I couldn't find a job in San Francisco. I tried, I looked around, I couldn't find anything, but I was still getting called to commentate events and host events and do all that stuff. And I told my wife, Cynthia, I was like, I think I could do this. I think, like, with you working as a teacher and me doing, this stuff, I think we'll be okay. And she was a little hesitant at the time, but our rent wasn't that bad. I'd moved back from San Francisco because she didn't come with me to San Francisco. She stayed in New York. But we found, as soon as I got back, because she was teaching, and as soon as I got back, I was like, we're moving out. We got to find a place. Like, I had lived on my own. I don't want to stay. We were staying with my mother. We were living in the basement of our house. And after a little while, I was just like, I'm done, right? Like, I just want to go. So we found like a really nice 1-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn. We moved, and our rent wasn't that bad. And she was like, if you want to do this, I'll support you. Let's do this. So I started making videos and started building up like my YouTube channel. I started streaming, and things were going like okay. Like, I wasn't like breaking any records, or I wasn't changing the game or anything, but I was keeping myself out there as much as possible. And like I said, I was still getting called for work. So I guess that was like the aha moment where I was like, maybe this is something. Maybe, like, if Battlefield keeps calling me for things, if these games keep working with me, then clearly something is going on here. Clearly there's an opportunity. And I never quite got to go back and be involved in Call of Duty again, which bummed me out. But, that's a whole other can of worms that I don't want to get into. But I was able to just branch out, and I recognized that there was opportunity. The second aha moment was very, very recently when I was on the set of the Titan games. I had just met The Rock, went back to my trailer. I was by myself for a moment, just as we were about to shoot the very, very first episode, very first segment of the Titan games. And I was like, holy crap, what the hell am I doing here? And I was just by myself. And, I kind of just like stared at the wall for, like 5-10 minutes, sipped on some tea. And I was just like, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm going to make the best out of it and do the best I can. And I think I did pretty well, but that was like a moment for me where I realized like I guess I kind of sort of made it, like no matter what happens, if this whole thing goes away tomorrow, I know no one can ever take away from me that I'm going to be a commentator on nationally broadcast primetime TV show with Dwayne Johnson.
You got to smell what The Rock was cooking.
You were waiting for that.
I was so waiting for that one, Alex. I was waiting.
You were waiting.
I was waiting because I'm not sure how much I can ask you about Titan Games. I know it's on January, NBC primetime. You told us this multiple times during Overwatch World Cup at BlizzCon. It's like 8 p.m/9 p.m. I can't do American time zones. Is it midweek? Wednesdays?
8 p.m. Wednesdays. Yeah, I believe it's Wednesday. I gotta look.
You knew this off by heart at BlizzCon. Maybe you were lying to us all.
No. It's Thursdays. So no, what happened was the premiere was going to be Wednesday. And then the show was going to be on Thursdays. But the premiere is now on Thursday, and every episode's on Thursday.
So how did you get in there with NBC and The Rock?
It was random, I think. So it all actually started with Fortnite. I was very, very adamant on doing the Fortnite Pro-Am. When they announced it, I was like, I gotta get this. And I knew all the Epic guys because I had worked with them prior at PlayStation Experience. Before Fortnite even exploded, I was interested in Fortnite. So I'm kind of like a hipster there, right? Or I was like, I was a part of this before it even became a thing. So I had worked PlayStation Experience, which was the first Fortnite activation that Epic ever did. And from there, I was just like, you know what? I want to be involved in this. So I messaged everyone at Epic, and I was like, this is what I want. Let's make this happen. They were like, your name's in a hat. And I was like, what the freaking hell does that mean, man? My name's in a hat? Like, I was like really nervous. But then they came back and they were like, we want you to anchor this broadcast and be our play-by-play guy and kind of like, just the solid anchor basically of the show. And I was like, all right, I'm down. Commentated that event. Just so happened that day there was a guy from NBC who was a part of this Titan Games thing who was watching, and he was like, hey, we're looking for new faces. He tells everyone at NBC, he's like, this guy commentates video games and he's all right, so check him out. They did. Then they emailed me as I was filming the Overwatch League hits around New York City, where we were going to like the pizza place and we were going to the Brooklyn Bridge and stuff like that. And we get this email, and I thought it was a gag. I thought it was a joke. I was like, NBC? That doesn't seem real. Like, this has to be a joke. But our agency CSA, like they took it very seriously. They reached out, and turns out it was not a gag. It was real. They actually wanted to. They were curious in having me commentate this show, and we went through all the hoops with them, and I did a couple reading sessions with them, and then finally they were just like, we want to pair you up with this guy named Liam. Go to 30 Rock and do the filming with do a voiceover session or read with him there. and I went to 30 Rock, where they like shot the show 30 Rock, where they do Saturday Night Live, where they film Fallon. I got to walk through Jimmy Fallon's set to go to my voiceover studio. Like, all that happened to me. And then I got there, we did it, and it was like I had commentated with this guy my whole life. That's how easy it was working with Liam. He's such a professional. And they heard it. They were like, all right, you're our duo. And then that was it. Before I knew it, I was in LA.
Oh my God. I'm really wanting to find out a way that I can watch this in the UK. I'm hoping maybe someone like ITV might pick it up so we can watch it, because it sounds like it's going to be phenomenal. And I know you probably can't tell me too much about what happens, but can you sum up what the Titan Games is all about?
Yeah. So the Titan Games basically is a physical competition show in the vein of American Ninja Warrior. It's actually produced by the same team that does American Ninja Warrior, A. Smith Co. And it is like Ninja Warrior is a show of endurance or I would say more agility and speed. Titan Games is really a show about power and strength and endurance as well. You still got to be a little fast. Like, this challenge everything, but a lot of our challenges really do challenge like your strength. And the competition is centered around multiple men and multiple women who go up against each other in a variety of challenges. And these challenges could span like a variety of different tasks. So it could be focus on upper body strength. One could be a pole vault competition where you got to be accurate and have speed. Another one is kind of like a lower body challenge, or there's a lot of different obstacles that will be featured in the show. And then at the end of it all, one woman and one man will be crowned the Titan champion. They are like the top dog. They beat everyone. They are the Titan. But when you go through the show, like as you're competing against other people, each competitor goes to Mount Olympus before they can become the last Titan standing. They fight to become just a Titan, a group of Titans. And they have to compete on Mount Olympus, which is like this psychotic structure. It's insane, like how big it is. And you see it throughout the entirety of the show. It looms over the set the whole time. And it is massive, absolutely massive. And if you saw, like, there was a segment on Ellen's show, where Ellen DeGeneres' show, where she had her producer Andy do it, and that was just like a taste of it. And if anything, it was made just a little bit easier for Andy so that he could try and finish like one or two things. But it beats you down, and it's all cool because like The Rock was like personally involved in all this. Like, he helped not just design but conceptualize a lot of this stuff. So it's very much things that are based off of the workouts that The Rock does himself. So it's like I said, it's like really crazy, but it's super cool, and it's very, very inspiring because these people aren't athletes. Like, they're just regular people. Like, one guy is a truck driver for Budweiser in Florida. Another person's a firefighter who's also a grandma. You have a guy who's a lawyer and an MMA fighter on his spare time. Another person has a disability with his right hand, but yet he still competes with a prosthetic limb. Like, they're really some inspiring individuals in this show, and it's a roller coaster, man. I think it's going to be really good.
Oh, congratulations. I can't wait to cheer you on. In terms of the future then, you're now doing NBC, you're doing national television broadcasts. Has eSports lost you to the big leagues now? Are you gone?
Oh, no, never. That cracks me up, man, because when the announcement went out, everyone was like, does that mean you're not going to be doing esports anymore? And even some people who like didn't want to see me particularly succeed started going behind the scenes and telling everyone that like I can't do things anymore like in esports because of TV. I was like, that's not true. No. I can still do esports. I'm still going to do esports. It's still my passion. Video games will forever be the thing I love. And that will never change. And what's cool about Titan Games and NBC is that they actively want me to lean into the video game stuff. Like, they tell me, be you. Like, if you are what you'll say in the esports broadcast, or if you want to compare it to a game or something, like they like that kind of stuff. So no, they want me to be involved in the space because they recognize that it's one of the fastest growing demographics in the world. You know, these are people who are highly impressionable, but also really, really, really care about the things that they watch and the people that are a part of it. And they don't want to see me ever go away from that. And I don't think I ever want to go away from that. But yeah, I don't know if moving forward, I'm going to be as insane as I was this year with work. I definitely do think that I will pick and choose a little bit more than what I did before, only because this year was very stressful for me mentally and physically. So I think thinking about, my future is going to be important. But no, I will not go away from esports. Even if they try, no one can get rid of me. I will be like a parasite. I will latch on to everyone's buttholes and I will be there forever. I don't know if parasites linger to the butthole, but that's just what I do.
I think that Alex will be around a lot longer than your average parasite. He's that talented. And thank you so much, Goldenboy, for talking to me. You're an absolute superstar. I can't wait to cheer you on in January when we see you take to the Titan Games with The Rock. As for me, I am full of snot right now. I'm so sorry. I'm so nasal. I listened back to the beginning of the podcast and I just had to listen, obviously, to the podcast to edit it. Even as I'm talking right now, the snot is just battling my nostrils. Sorry, TMI. And it's not how my voice normally sounds. I'm hoping to get back to normal because this podcast is going out on Wednesday, the 3rd of December, 4th of December. I'm not actually sure what my days are. Oh my goodness, I don't know. The 4th of December, right? It's Wednesday. So you guys will know because hopefully you're listening to it on the day it comes out. If not, welcome. Everyone, welcome. Listen there whenever you like. Maybe you're listening in 2 years down the line. What? Welcome to the past. You'll be listening to it just as I go to host Global Loot League, which is the 5th to the 8th of December. And I'm really hoping that my nose clears up before then because I really don't want to host a show like this. Fingers crossed. And please do watch, by the way, twitch.tv/GLL. I know that PUBG League next year means that there are going to be less PUBG events outside of that league. So, in other words, this could be my last PUBG event. I really don't know. I don't know who's doing the league. So, if it's not me, this could be the last one. And so I want to go out with a bang. I love this esports so much. So I'm going to give it my all. And it'd be amazing if I know that some of you guys are there in Twitch chat as well. So, give me a shout on Twitter as well at GetFrank. On Instagram, I'm instagram.com/GetFrankGames. And of course on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/Frankie. I've been streaming Half-Life this week, which has been really exciting because I never played it when it came out. And it's 20 years old. It came out in 1998. When I finish that, I'll be playing, of course, PUBG. And I want to try Half-Life 2 as well if this first game doesn't freak me out too much. I've screamed a few times, guys. Head crabs are nasty. Anyway, I'm going to go head off and stream right now, in fact. And thank you so much, as always, for listening. Please do subscribe to the podcast. I don't normally ask people to rate, review, and subscribe, but I'm going to ask you guys to do that for me because it helps other people find the podcast. Hopefully, I'll be back very soon with an episode from Neesmith Demon, who I'm going to be working with out in Stockholm on Global Loot League. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a brilliant fortnight, and I will see you in a couple of weeks.